Hey, it's been about a year or 2 years since I've really made any videos, and I haven't posted most of them anyway. And if I ever do post most of them, they will probably be posted like 5 years after I made them. So I don't even know how relevant any of them will be. But this video, I think I'm kind of formulating. Anyway, I don't want to do that too much, but I want to just say real quick, I think I'm getting back on the right path again, and I think I have a good, well, I don't know, good, but I think I have a future. I just getting there's the point, and I don't know. So, I want to talk about corporations, is what I want to talk about in this video. I want to talk about what I believe about corporations and how they affect us. And mind you, in all my videos, I'm not very educated. I mean, I went to college for a couple years, but like, I don't research things very well, and I don't really, like, I don't have any sources to back up anything I say really ever. These is just all my own interpretation of everything. So I'm just letting you know. I guess that's why it's rambling. Okay, so corporations have like taken over the planet, and I had a job with an independent person once in a juice bar. It was like my favorite job ever, and she was just trying to create like health food and healthy juices for people. And she even told me she had to turn herself into a corporation to protect herself from liability just in case. So like, apparently even if you open a business, you have to kind of turn yourself into an LLC or something, or a corporation, so that if someone ever tries to sue you for some reason, they don't also end up taking your house and your whole life savings and stuff. They just end up suing your business or something like that. And that's just like a thing that people do to protect themselves. So corporations can kind of exist for like that reason in a good way, you know, to separate your business from your home and stuff. And corporations are basically just businesses like made manifest into entities that create profit for people. And I feel like there's three main reasons that corporations exist, and this is my theory. One, to funnel money to people, to make the rich rich and richer and stuff like that. So to funnel money towards the people who want the power and the money and stuff like that, which would be like the CEOs and, you know, things like that, and the higher executives and all that stuff. So you know, everyone knows that like the whole reason for a business is the bottom line, and it's always about the profit, and the bottom line is always a profit. So corporations exist to make profit, which everyone knows that. So it's corporations exist to make profit, which is to funnel money to the rich. And then another reason that I personally believe that corporations exist is to rape the planet, to take as much from the planet as they can to use to create profit. And there's like no regard for how they're affecting the ecosystem or the balance of the planet, or like the balance of the land, and whatever resources they're using is to steal resources and rape the planet. And maybe I shouldn't use the word rape, I don't know. But when we're not giving back to the planet and we're not living in harmony with the planet, we're taking from the planet more than we need. Which, when you're taking something for your own purposes, which is more than you need, it's a form of greed, but it's also kind of a form of, you know, planetary rape and stuff like that. Because rape essentially is like taking something from a person for your own purposes that is definitely more than what you need, because you don't need any of that without, you know, their consent and stuff. And I guess the planet can't so-called consent, and I guess the planet kind of consents to everything it lets us do, because it lets us do everything to it, but it's throwing it like way out of whack. So I feel like the second reason that corporations exist is to steal the resources from the planet. We'll just say steal the resources from the planet because it's not as touchy. And the third reason that I feel like corporations exist is to make the people that work for them feel powerless, to feel this sense of like defeat, to put people in survival mode, to put people in this mode where they feel like they need to rely on the corporation to survive, but all the things they have to do to rely on this corporation like makes them feel powerless and makes them feel defeated and makes them feel like almost this low level sense of constant despair. And that could be like, and this applies to all the people that are working at corporations, mostly the lower level people and stuff like that. But also this could apply to like the middle type people who also have to channel down the rules and stuff like that. And things that I've noticed from working at all the corporations that I've worked at is that they always have all these rules in place that don't make sense. Like, they just absolutely don't make sense, but like they're channeled from the top down and we have to follow them in order to keep your job. And a lot of them use like fear of like losing your job, you know, because you're in survival mode, you need them to survive. So the fear tactic they use is that you're going to lose your job and therefore you're not going to be able to survive. So your survival is based on fear, which of you know, whether you can survive or not, monetary and stuff like that. And it makes you have to accept all these things that like go against your internal integrity and go against your internal way of seeing things. And a lot of people that work for corporations, you can always figure out a better way that things can be done, but they don't care what you think. They're not there to ask what you think. It's not about you helping make the company better. It's about, I mean, they like to channel that feel good stuff down to you, but when it really comes down to it, like, your opinion doesn't really matter. Like, they want to say your opinion matters, but really, like, we know our opinion doesn't matter for the most part. And they rely, so they want you to feel powerless, and they want you to feel a sense of, like, low-level despair, and this can affect you like the whole time you're working for them, which also engenders apathy. Like, a lot of people who work for corporations just develop this apathetic attitude about everything, and they don't care about what they're doing. So you feel like low-level despair, low-level apathy, and we all know we're like disposable, and they want you to know you're disposable, and they will literally tell you you are disposable. They might not always say it with those words exactly, but you always know that you are disposable, and they want you to feel like you're disposable. So like, I feel like I had this philosophy that I can maybe go into in other things. I was trying to write a book one time, but it's kind of in that. But I feel like buildings are sources to create energy and channel energy for certain things. And I feel like when people are working in a place and they feel all that stuff, it channels that energy, that despair, and that apathy and the powerlessness and stuff like that, which we can go into more of it other, but I honestly feel like they just feed off of it. And I know, like, when I worked for Amazon, they would come up with all these crazy rules all the time, and it would just make you feel so crazy, and, like, you could never win. I felt like I was in a video game, and I was trying to get to the last level to save the princess or win the gold or whatever. You know, you're trying to win the video game, but they kept sending all these obstacles our way, and they kept changing everything in order to make the video game harder. Like, each level you progressed, it got harder, and they kept finding ways to make your job harder for you to do instead of easier. But they would always say it was to make the job easier, but in reality, it was always to make the job harder. And I just felt like I was like trapped in this video game, and I also felt like it was just like feeding off of me. And the more I keyed into, I felt like their purpose was to make me feel like I couldn't win no matter what I do. And they were just feeding off of that. And then my goal was try to figure out how to work in the video game as much as possible to outsmart it and find my own way to work in the video game. Like, it was kind of like sharpening me in a lot of ways, but it was also like trying to defeat me. And I feel like it's been that way every corporation I've worked at. And one thing they always like to focus on that I feel like is another thing is this goes in with them being profit driven. The numbers. They always use numbers to try to measure you in some type of way. And that's what inspired me to make the "You Are Not a Number" video. Because I was just surrounded by all these numbers trying to define my worth. And like, they use numbers to try to control us as much as possible. They use numbers to try to reduce you down to a factual number of your productivity or your ratings or whatever. They measure everything about you serving them in the form of numbers. And they try to reduce you down to nothing but a number. And everything that management learns to filter everything through is reliable on, they measure everything through numbers, and management is there to work the numbers in their favor, which the numbers we know is profit. But it's all about squeezing as much as they can out of you and squeezing as much as they can out of the earth to make their numbers as big as possible. But it's also about feeding the machine that feeds on our despair and on our fears and on our apathy and on our sense of powerlessness, so that we don't feel like we can do what we're put here to do because we're so trapped in survival mode, worried about our own numbers. And it just gets us put in this, like, I'm not sure if linear is the right word, linear thinking of just making it to where our own brain is focused on the numbers. And as long as we're reducing everything down to numbers, we're just measuring things on a balance of if we're getting enough of what we need, or if things are lining up according to our own base desires. Like, I feel like numbers are profound, but numbers can also be really base. And it's like a base way to measure us. And it's a base way to reduce everything down to where the only thing that really matters is numbers. Because money is like, I put in another video about my thoughts on money, but money is like one of the most powerful things in the world that exist here. Like, I literally said it's like our God, basically. But like, the reality of money is that outside of the power we give it, it has no power, because you can't do anything with it except for the power that we give it, because we believe that money has value and the whole system is based around money having value. It therefore has value, and the numbers speak through the money. Money is like a symbolism of numbers and how much they control us through numbers. But I mean, numbers aren't just about control, but I'm just, hypothetically speaking or whatever. But money, if you take away money to where, like, we're living in a post-apocalyptic world to where you have money to survive or you have food to survive, you need food to survive, not pieces of paper, not numbers on a screen. You actually need food. But the way the system has been created is that we can't get food without having money. Like, we need their money in order to get the things we actually need to survive, which is like shelter and food and, fun stuff and stuff like that too. Like, money is a universal tool, but it really only has the value of the power that we give it because we all believe it has that value, because that's the way the system's set up. Because the system is set up on belief functions. Like, everything that exists in the world is, physicality exists and laws of the universe exist and stuff like that, but a lot of stuff is based on what we all believe that creates the power that something has. So, like, when we believe that when we believe we have to sacrifice everything for enough money to survive, that's just the base level belief that everyone has, and that's what we're all doing and stuff like that. And I don't know if there's an alternate way, because I don't have a good relationship with money. I have just enough. Maybe I have the perfect relationship with money, because I never have excessive, but sometimes I have excessive debt. Anyway, my story's not important. But I wanted to talk about how what we believe shapes everything, but that could just be other videos, and other people said the same thing and stuff like that. But I really feel like corporations are inherently evil for the most part, not all of them, but I feel like their purpose is inherently evil. And it's one, because it's all about taking as much from the planet as they can, and in the form of our energy and our life force, and in the form of what the planet has to offer. And I had this dream about it once, actually, where they finally figured out how to harvest our energy, and it just turned it into where they were making so many profits. They were all like winning, like they were just winning like nonstop, and they were making themselves so rich because they had finally figured out how to harvest like our actual energy inside to make them like completely rich, where it was like nonstop, like just winning at the casino nonstop. And they did that through manipulation, by the way. This guy, this poor young boy that they were doing it to. But anyway, so that's my thoughts on corporations a little bit. To channel profit, to steal from the earth, and to make us feel despair and powerless. So that's Lena rambling for today. What have you done this beautiful or true today? And a banana heart for you. Have the best day, and don't forget to breathe. Don't forget to believe. Just believe in like anything or nothing. Believe in money. Believe in anything you want. Just don't forget to believe. Okay. Peace out. Where's that off button?